What's up, YouTube? It's Upside DIY. I'm documenting how to turn a flat screen TV into a light. I kind of found the main, I don't really want to remove too much. I just removed a little piece of tape. I just want to document the main factors of how to get the LEDs in TVs to work. You guys can watch my other videos on the other components, like the filters, you know, the hard plastic that you actually need to keep in there to help support the weight. But for now, I'm just going to show you guys you know, how to find, or how I found the wires to the actual LED bulbs. I'm not going to really do any major hacking or whatever DIY right now. I'm just updating. Most of my videos are updated. I don't really show you guys everything, but try to explain. So all these LED strips, this reflector is actually held down by little screws and things. I actually have a notebook here that helps me keep track of, you know, the whole assembly process and disassembly process, where boards are and things. But what I'm going to do is start, you know, I tried it one way, trying to keep as much, you know, as long as the, you know, trying to keep as much, you know, involved, but the lights still turn off. So I'm going to go back, you know, explain to you guys, you know, having a cracked screen TV would be a good project for. And if somebody saw this right here, they probably know it. I don't know why a lot of people aren't trying to do this, or even have a real serious video to help me do this, but I'm doing it myself. So yeah, so I basically, with this notebook, I also drew what was on the inside after I removed the cover. There's speakers, you know, there's connectors. The way how I did that was, you know, a dot would be just a regular multiple screws, and an X would be a special screw. Sometimes you could get a, you know, sorting bin, or, you know, one of those little plastic with all those little compartments, and sort out the screws a lot better. But I just throw them in a jar and kind of use my diagram. And, you know, when I put this back together, I get a little tub and I pour them all in and sort them out and stuff like that. Another thing about sorting out the screws is, if you were working on another project and had leftover screws and things, you could just put them in a film canister and you know, enjoy life that way. So yeah, so here are all these wires and connectors written down, but the only ones I really need is the power, which is this power cord. So I use this to test the TV. The lights worked with it, you know, and but the TV screen was cracked, the display screen. And here's some of the parts that I took off from this particular Vizio TV, and some pieces broke, not too much broke, but just little plastic pieces. You know, I could salvage these speakers just by unscrewing a couple of screws. Here's a nice stand. But actually the stand, or I don't know, I gotta look underneath there and try to tighten that down. This chip actually just went right here. It just plugged in. It looks like some type of Wi-Fi password. You know, they might be hacking you without knowing, just by using that type of chip and seeing what your program is. So the other parts I got out was the hard plastic. And there's the filters in there. The lens, I call it a lens, but it's a RGB filter. if you hold up the RGB filter or lens to like a lighted window, you'll see red, blue, and yellow, and red, green, and blue or something. Here's the display. I guess I forget what they call it. IFCOM or something, that just basically runs, you know, the main images of, and then, you know, there's ribbons. This screen is cracked, but I do like to take them apart to see if like one side is still uncracked, but I think both of them have lines on them, so I probably can't really use it as a front acrylic cover. And right here I got the front bezel, which I you know, keep over there to reuse on the final assembly. But both of the frosties are on the bottom and the top, and in the middle is the RGB lens. And then there's the hard plastic that helps them from drooping and things, to keep them straight. But this hard plastic was a little broken, but I'm gonna actually try to tape it. But even plastic tape, you know, it'll come off. I gotta actually glue that back. And so back to trying to wire this TV as a light source. I'm gonna actually disconnect. I found out where the wires were leading, so I could remove that. And you know, even though this goes to this board, I would still need it for the TV to operate. But like I said, I'm going to only use this TV for a light. And this is actually going to teach me about my other TVs. And actually, it's going to give me a lot of parts that I'm going to salvage from these TVs. And then all you got to do is get these bunch of wires. You know, you might have to get a little small, you know, diode kit. You know, try to make maybe have a fuse or something. I don't know exactly what LEDs are going to really run on. But what you do is basically cut off this power connector. You see, that's like the power cord if this TV was assembled. And basically, all you need to do is connect it to these wires right here. I would suggest to have a voltmeter and actually test, or maybe have more of a diagram. But the rest of the stuff could come off, and it's the same thing with all my other TVs that I turned into lights. The only other thing might be to keep is the power button, because it could you know, it's pretty much a part of the whole chassis and things. But the only thing with the power button is it's probably, you know, you gotta trace the power button wire, which is this 3-band thing. But the only reason, and it goes to this board, and this board goes to a lot of just like, you know, this connector splits into 2 different connectors to the power board. This would, and then stuff like that. And this is right here is the display board, which is pretty much a decent, it's pretty decent. But I wrote down most of the stuff. I videographed quite a bit. I mean, so all I gotta do now to really have this as my first real working TV light is to just work with these wires that the LEDs are running by or on. I could remove practically everything else besides the power and the LED. So I'm gonna try to do that, and then basically have a, you know, have a decent, you know, light, You know, I mean, it's not as much as a TV, but I couldn't really fix this TV. I would need a whole new screen, and you know, they're not that too far expensive to replace when they're on sale or something, or maybe you could buy a used one that works. Will get you the same thing, but I'm not really doing much. And I have other spare TVs, thankfully. But so far, this is the third one that I'm turning to a flat screen TV light. And the first two worked, but then the power off starts. So basically, they didn't work because I have to do this this part, and I could really like just remove everything else but this wire and the power wire, maybe the power button wire, which was this wire, just because the connector kind of works with the power button right over here. Everything else with this TV is actually, I mean, flat screen TVs are awesome. They're just so relaxing to watch, you know, and have to work. They don't break as much unless you break the screen, and you know, and the screens are pretty fragile. But you know, if you're really careful, you know, I think my TV that I have lasted for like 6 years so far. It was made in 2013 or something, and I mean, some features on it didn't work, but you know, I can still, you know, it still works for me. I just have to adjust a few things like the antenna and location and things. So for now, like the silver tape is just tape. It could be conductive tape too, to help ground things, but I don't really need it. All I need is just this bundle of wire. These are the LED wires, and this is the power wire. So I can pretty much remove all this other stuff, use them as spare parts. Just in case I do, you know, or just in case there is a TV that doesn't have a cracked screen, that the light works, but there's, or maybe, you know, and the display doesn't show up that good or something. I mean, that's thinking a whole lot ahead, and that's probably, you know, a few days of looking up and actually taking apart and having it in you know, that's just overthinking this project and what I'm doing in this video. But I'm gonna try to remove this connector, maybe with one hand. I probably have to use two hands and a screwdriver. And even though this is on a connector, I could just cut off the connector and just try to wire it to or just have like a diode or something. It just depends what I could really test and work, like bundle lefts and right, or positive and negatives together, and just plug it into the power source. Maybe use a transistor to help me. I don't know, a MOSFETting. I just don't know what else after that. I'll have to really research it. But I just wanted to show you guys some of my failures with the other TVs, and then, you know, how just practicing and just actually realizing what's going on. Most people wouldn't, there's not much of a video of making this into a DIY light, because I've only been making these videos in 2019. Most other people would try to repair it. It'll be a little harder. It'll be, you know, good. And all these will be intact still. And on my other two TVs, it's still intact. It's just, I don't need it that way because I'm not trying to fix it as a TV. I'm trying to fix it as a light. So here's the power cord, and here's the cable to the LEDs, and I'm going to try to work with these for the next video and get this to power on all the time. And I noticed there's a little fuse and stuff like that. So thanks for watching YouTube, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.